Hey, it is 12 noon on Friday, which means it's time for this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christmas. The show is brought to you by we come to you live to mastermind to grow your real estate business. And what we're talking about today is something that's important for growing and even just launching your business in the first place. And we're talking about multiples, multiple flows, having multiples, because one of anything isn't going to make you rich. One of anything, and it's difficult to survive with just one because you lose that one and, oh geez, what do we do now? So we're talking today about multiples, about having more than one, about why that matters in so many different aspects and how that'll protect your business from ups and downs of the market, how it'll ensure the sales cycle of your business is prosperous. So much where multiples is important. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to go through some scenarios of why you want to prepare your business to be multiplied, to be in multiple areas when you're advertising, to be working with multiple clients, to earning income from multiple sources. So we're talking about all that today. Multiples. I'm John Christmo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Christman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to talk about growing your business. And what we're talking about today is multiple. Look, I've said this before. One and you're done. One and you're done. One of anything and you're going to be in trouble. So let's go through the list of a bunch of different things where you want multiples for. So number one, you want multiple clients. Multiple clients. You don't want to rely on any one client at any given point in time, no matter how much of a sure thing that client may seem to be. You need to be a multitasker. That's the multi right in there. Multitasking, dealing with multiple clients at the same time. So look, when you're dealing in real estate, the sales cycle of when somebody's actively looking, let's say, to purchase a home to when they actually close on the home, I mean, you're looking at a minimum maybe 60 days, but I would say on average 90 to 120 days to go from the person being interested in buying a home to actually closing on a deal, to being actively looking for a home and then closing on the deal. Sometimes it might be quicker than that, but look, the contract to close, once you have a property under contract, just getting to the closing, that's usually 60 days right there. So now depending on how long it's going to take to find that property, if it's 30 days, you're dealing with 90 days. If it's 60 days to find that property and another 60 days to close, you're looking at 120 days. And there could always be little hiccups and bumps. Maybe a contract falls through and you're now looking for another property again. If you're relying on just one client. Now, you might have it predictable where you could say, oh, well, you know, they're ready to get it under contract right now, and so now in 60 days I know that I'm going to get paid. That's as long as the contract actually closes. So what's the solution here? What's the remedy? How do we fix this? How do we make sure that we're not just relying on one client? You work with multiple clients. It's really simple. You're just going to be working with multiple clients at the same time. You might say, well, John, how is that possible? How do I do that? How do I work with multiple clients at the same time? What is it that we're doing here? So let's say we're just dealing with the buyer side of this. So you might have clients that are in a few different areas that might be at some point in the life cycle. So probably the furthest out are our past clients. People that have bought a home with us before. And yes, they are a potential buyer, but on average 5 to 7 years from now, they're not going to be buying right this second, but there's somebody it is that we want to keep in our pipeline, keep in our hopper, so that way in the future, we've got multiple clients lined up already by staying in touch with our past clients. Now, moving further down this, and look, you can come up with whatever names it is that you want to call these, but you just want to understand of where they are in the process. You have what I like to call inquiries. So inquiries, these aren't people that are actively looking. These are people that are, thinking of buying. So they're kind of in the thinking stage. They're trying to find the neighborhood they want to live in. They're trying to understand the type of property it is that they want and need. They're thinking about purchasing, but it's not at their forefront. It might be something they want to do within the next year, but not something it is that they want to do right now. So those are the inquiries. Now, a lot of agents, for these two categories right here, past clients especially, that they'll build this relationship with a client and then they throw that relationship away. Then they move on to clients that are further down the pipeline that need to buy right now, and they forget these past clients ever existed and they never hear from them again. And what happens is you lose the credibility that you work to build. And now the same thing applies when we're dealing with inquiries. You might have somebody that asked you a real estate question. Maybe they submitted a form online or called you about a particular property, and they're not really serious right now about buying a property, but they're inquiring, they're thinking about it. It's important that we stay in touch with them and that we follow up with them and we build a relationship with them, because otherwise, when they are ready, all that work we put in is going to be for nothing, because they'll end up contacting another agent, which we don't want. So follow-up is the name of the game here, staying in touch with not only your past clients, but also the people that are thinking about purchasing, the inquiries and thinking process. Now, moving further down the pipeline, as we get to people that are getting closer to buying a home, these are the people that are actively looking. And the people that are actively looking, they're more serious than the inquiries and the people thinking about buying a home. These are people that are actually, that you might be taking out on appointments to see properties, that are scouring Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia and Homes.com and all these sites, as well as maybe your website as well. Maybe they're getting emails from the MLS system that you've set them up with. These are the people that are close to being into a contract. And of course, any one of these different stages here, these are very broad categories, because you might have a past client that bought just this year, and you might have a past client that bought 2 or 3 years ago. They're still just a past client with nothing really in their immediate future of wanting to buy another property. So there's going to be these different stages here of how much of it, how far in the past they may be and how close they're getting to that next stage. But overall, these are some good ways to categorize the clients it is that you have. The pipeline it is that you're building. And actively looking, these are really important. And this is where most people are going to focus their efforts, on the people that are actively looking if we're dealing with buyers. But once they find a property and it goes under contract, so that's when we go into the contract to close stage. And these people still need our attention, because what can happen here is if that contract falls through, we need to be there to maybe catch it or keep it together, or try whatever it is that we can to show value to our clients, and at the same time hopefully still end up towards the closing. And if the contract does fall through and there's nothing it is that we could do about it, all right, well then at this point now we need to go find another property for them to get under contract, because they do want to buy a property. It's just that particular one didn't work out. So this is really the latest stage here. You haven't been paid yet because you don't get paid until the closing, but now we're right in that final home stretch. They've gone through the process of being an inquiry to be somebody that's active looking to going into the contract, and now we're on that home stretch to the closing, but our job isn't done here. So what you could do here, you could have potentially really just of these different categories here, 4 different clients doing different things. And it's important to understand these categories that we would place them in, because if they're a past client, they don't need a lot of our attention currently. Really, this category right here, the actively looking, this is where the most attention is required. This is where the most has to be done on our part. This whole active part, well, we're actively working with them. This is where we're going on the appointments, where we're showing them properties, when we're trying to get to that next stage of the contract to the close. Now, for the most part, especially front, hopefully this process here is fairly stress-free and is not going to require a lot of your attention. So what that means is you could have clients, once you get them into this area here of the contract to close, they're no longer taking up as much of your time and effort. Now, they still will need some time and attention, but nothing nearly as much as when they're actively looking. So when they're in this category here, you're able now to devote some of your free time to the people that are actively looking. And really, you should never just be dealing with one person that's actively looking, because that's going to mess up your pipeline. If you're constantly trying to move people through these paces, you can imagine this, almost like some sort of funnel. And when they're in these categories moving down, they're eventually going to trickle out to the bottom. But the reason why this funnel gets smaller is because as we get closer to the closing, there's going to be things that happen. Maybe they can't qualify for the financing if they're a buyer. Maybe that they've decided they're not ready to purchase yet. Maybe they backtrack. They go from being actively looking back to just thinking about real estate. And sometimes they'll flip back and forth between these categories. Maybe they can't qualify. Now they're back into just being a past client. They're not ready right now. Maybe they messed up some things with their credit, and now they're just going to continue with the home it is that they have until they get that back under wraps and they can think about buying again. So, and again, if that contract falls through, they might move back to the actively looking process, or maybe that's enough to discourage them to jump back now to just thinking about buying a property because they were so beat up about it. So you could backtrack all the time. Ultimately, we want to be moving forward. We want to be moving from being a past client, or if they were a past client, or at the very least they're an inquiry, then actively looking, and then moving into the contract to close portion of this here, and we should be progressing forward. But we can't control every part of our universe. There's certain things it is that we cannot control that are going to happen. Now, we could be prepared for these things happening. Maybe we kind of sense that there's something going on here and it might not work out, and we kind of prerequisite that with them. We talk to them a little bit, and maybe some things like, hey, if this doesn't work out, have you maybe considered any other homes that you're purchasing here? I actually found maybe a couple that might work if this doesn't go through. And then if it doesn't fall through, it does fall through, they might say something like, wow, how did you know that this was going to fall through? And the more it is that you practice real estate, the more you kind of develop a sort of intuition about these things, and you just pick up on little factors. It's really not that you could see the future, it's just what these different factors mean. If somebody's not responding to you, and that's all of a sudden they were responding to you, then all of a sudden communication is cut off. What's going on here? What changed? What are they holding back from us here? So we pick up on these things, but the important part here, going back to the topic of today's show, is you want multiple clients. You should have a lot of people sitting in this past client bucket. Now, if you're new to real estate, you're not going to have any past clients, but you might have people it is that you know. And that's where they're maybe going to fall into this inquiries and thinking about buying real estate. Now, it's important to line up a lot of people that are inquiring and thinking about purchasing real estate, because this is the business of tomorrow. This is the people that are not going to buy today. It's the business of tomorrow. And this is how you ensure that steady flow of business coming out of your funnel, by lining up clients. Because if you're only working with that one actively looking person, so let's say you've got one person that's actively looking, you go find them a property, goes under contract, okay, great, you're going to get paid in 60 days once that contract closes. And now you're back to, okay, let's find somebody else. Now you might be taking a week or 2 weeks or maybe even a month to find another client, and then you've got to go through this process all over again. And this is where you end up with the ups and downs. You have a great month and then a terrible month, and then a great month and then a terrible month. It all comes down to lining customers up for business. You've got to have a pipeline, and you've got to understand the stages it is that they're in, because depending at the stage it is that they're in, they're going to need different attention from you. They're going to have different needs from you that need to be satisfied. Here's a past client. The only need you have here is to make sure that they don't forget who it is that you are when you're dealing with past clients. Now, with the inquiries, they need to be educated about the home buying process, about maybe the neighborhoods that are available, helping them with these initial decisions it is that they're making. That's what's important to the inquiries. To the people that are actively looking, you should already have this stuff figured out from the inquiries. They should already know about the home buying process. And this is where this all kind of flows together, where you're developing a nice customer journey of them working through these stages here, and it just feels seamless to them, that's where you're very likely to end up with past clients and them being repeat business, as long as you do your job of making sure they don't forget who you are. So as you move them down from the stages, again, the inquiries, the people thinking about buying real estate, they need to be educated on the process of maybe if they already own a home, what the process would also look like, not just for buying their next property, but selling their current property, the types of improvements maybe. And this is, you got to find out what information it is that they need and then feed that need. Give them the information it is that they need. Somebody actively looking, this isn't the point where you want to educate them about the home buying process. They're more concerned with, okay, where's the home I want to purchase? What about this home? Oh, I don't really like that one. What about this one? No, I don't really like that. Oh, this one I like this, but I don't really like this here. So the people actively looking, this is where we get more in the trenches. This is where we get more in the details. And then that contract to close aspect of this here, they still need to be educated. Okay, now here's what to expect going through this. This is the things that need to be done in this process. This is the checklist of we've got to do this inspection. The property's got to get appraised. We got to do the survey and all the things that are part of the closing process. We're going through those and knocking those all out to ensure a smooth transition to the actual closing. That's our goal here, to make this whole process smooth. And the smoother it is that we could make it, the more likely we could multiply our flows of income, that we can multiply the customers it is that we're working with. Because if we just have one customer, we're really just trying to try out, let's see if this works with this one guy or this one girl or this one couple that wants to buy a property. Let's try this. Let's try that. And no one wants to be trialed and errored again. So the more it is that you define and refine a system to move clients through this process, the easier it's going to be to multiply the clients it is that you're working with. And for educating them, this whole process, maybe you make some sort of videos. And, if you're not good in front of a camera, fine. Maybe you come up with some sort of emails, just some reusable content that you could feed to these people, especially in these stages right here. For past clients, that's your market update type of stuff. So sending them updates on the market it is that they're looking to buy in or that they had already purchased in. Really, if they're looking to buy, they're in the inquiry stage. So sending them that market information of, oh, the real estate prices have went up this much. The interest rates have gone up this much. This has happened here. These are the number of homes that are available. The inventory is not available right now. That basic information that kind of gives them an idea of, oh, now might be a good time to buy, or, ooh, this looks like this went up. Maybe I should buy now. That's the information that these people will need. The people that are actively looking, if you give them every little bit of update about the market, they're going to backtrack now into these previous categories. If you're telling them that every single day, oh, prices are up today, oh, well, should we wait for tomorrow? No, prices are going to keep going up. Okay, well, why did you tell me prices went up today? So when they're this deep in the trenches, real estate is not something like stocks. Stocks can go up and down multiple times in one single day. Real estate is very slow to respond to supply and demand. So it's important to know those details about the market if you're kind of in these stages here, if you're thinking about it or you've done it before and you might be doing it again. That's when you're in these stages here, because that's telling you, hey, within the span of like these next 6 months, probably a good idea to start get the wheels turning if you really want to do this soon. Whereas when they're actively looking, today versus tomorrow usually doesn't make any difference whatsoever in interest rates or home prices. There might be slight changes. There might be a price decrease on a particular home. Interest rates might go up a little bit, but they don't skyrocket overnight. So that's stuff that's important here. And you've got to constantly be asking yourself this question of, what are my past clients? What information do they need and that they do want to hear? The inquiries, the people thinking about buying, or we could very easily make this about selling. And what is it that they're interested in, that they want to know? The people that are actively looking, what is it that they're interested in? And then when they're in the closing process, when we're working towards going towards this closing process, what information do they need? So that's working with buyers. I want to run through the same thing with the seller side of this, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. So stick with us. I'm John Kursmo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to
get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Kurtzman. This show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind to grow your real estate business. And what we're talking about today is having multiples. We talked about lining up multiple buyers if you're working in the buyer space. And, this might be something for multiples right here. There's a little bit to say about specialization. And yes, it does require a very special set of skills working with buyers. But why would you choose just to work with buyers when you could also work with sellers? Why would you limit yourself to just one or the other? Yes, there will be different skills that are required depending on whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, but that goes back to the multiple. Now, remember this as we compare this now to the seller side of this here. When we're working with a buyer, remember, most of the work is required here when they're actively looking for the property. That's going to differ a little bit when we deal with sellers. When we're dealing with sellers and we're trying to, remember, stack up our multiple clients, get multiple flows, not relying on just one deal, because if we have to rely on one, then we're done. We're going to fall apart if we're just relying on one client at any one given point in time. You got to have multiple clients lined up, not just that you're currently working with, but ready to be worked with, moving them through that process of going from this step to this step to this transaction done, and we repeat the whole process again 5 to 7 years, and we follow up with them in the meantime. Get about are the past clients. And look, if you're new to real estate, you might not have ever had a real estate client before, but maybe you had somebody from your previous business or your previous job it is that they've done. Yeah, they're a past client. They might not have any intention of buying or selling real estate now, but you have an established relationship with them. So that's what we call these as well. I just like to call them past clients because once you get a couple of clients, that's what's important, to make sure that not only did they do business with you then, that they're going to do business with you again. So past clients are the furthest out. Then we have the people, again, thinking, inquiring and thinking. About selling their property. And then we have the people that are ready to sell. The people that are selling, there's really, I would probably put these in 5 categories. And then finally, again, that contract to close stage. Can't forget about that because we don't get paid until we get to the closing. So that is an important stage. If the deal falls apart here, all this is for nothing. Again, as we move down through this process here, it's like a funnel. As we go down through this here, it's going to drip off to what we finally have our business pouring out in the end. So our past clients, past relationships, that's going to make up the most amount of people that we know, hopefully, if you're doing this right. Because if there's a bottleneck at any one of these processes here, if this kind of curves in like this, rather than being wide up here, then it's not going to curve in like that. It's ultimately going to go even smaller, where you don't really have much of a funnel. So you never want to have any sort of bottlenecks in your funnel. So the more people that you could build relationships with, get exposure with, really the people, again, I like to call them past clients because those are the ones that are most likely to go through this process again, but it's anybody that knows about you but has no interest in buying real estate right now, which your past clients are a great example of that. Who's less likely to buy real estate from you at all right now? It's the people you just sold real estate to, unless they're maybe looking to invest in real estate as well, or they are an investor. They're pretty rapid with the purchasing of this. But for normal residential properties, the past clients are the ones that they just bought a house. They don't expect you to show up at their door the next day and say, hey, you ready to sell yet? And you're like, you're joking, right? We just moved in here. No, you ready to sell? Of course they're not ready to sell when they just bought that particular property. So this is really the category of the people that are having no interest whatsoever with buying, but we have a relationship with them. Call them something different if you want. You just need to understand that this category here are the people we have relationships with, but have no interest in purchasing right now. It's important to maintain that relationship because probably someday they will have interest in either buying or selling a piece of real estate, and we want to be their guy, we want to be their girl to help them accomplish that. Now moving down into the inquiry stage. So remember, past clients, they're not really interested in buying or selling, but they might be interested in their home's current value, or maybe they're a renter right now and they've thought about purchasing. I mean, really, that's when they're falling now into this thinking category more so. But up here on this end, there's just what's going on in the market. Is now a good time? Is a better time than before? Is maybe going to be a better time in the future? Just that basic kind of market stuff, because that's the questions it is that they have, especially as they get down into this stage here about thinking about buying or selling a piece of real estate. Here we're dealing with selling. So when they're thinking about selling, is now a good time? A lot of people that own property constantly have this thought. Even if they love their house, they're thinking, wonder how much money I could get if I sold my house right now. And that thought crosses their mind more than you would think. So we need to present them the information that feeds that to them. Now, they're not going to be interested, especially in this past client stage. These are not people that are interested in the sale process. But as they're thinking about this, maybe they're interested. And maybe one of the big things it is to help get your foot in the door with sellers early in on the funnel process is to be disseminating the information and educating them about what it is that they should be doing to their home. Because ultimately, this property is an investment. Hopefully they're going to buy low and then sell for a little bit higher, maybe much higher, depending on how it is that they keep up the property. And what a lot of sellers think is that every dollar they put into the property will get them more than $1 out. And that's a mistake that a lot of sellers make every day. You can't simply put $1 into a property and expect to get more than $1 back out. Might actually only get maybe 50 or 60 cents out when you put that dollar in. Happens very often. A lot of things what we call over improvements. So maybe that's something, maybe a newsletter or an email or just something like that you're sending out just to stay top of mind with these people. Because remember, in order to have multiple clients down here, we got to build this all up. We got to have a good foundation. We've got to have a good base, because the narrower this gets up here, the narrower it'll be down here. A lot of agents are just focused on this right here about, oh, I got to find more people that are looking to buy right now. We're looking to sell right now. And then you're constantly on a wild goose chase looking for new clients. Whereas when you put some investment into building relationships with past clients, with people that are thinking about buying or selling but not ready yet, they're not going to be ready to buy or sell today. Nothing you can say is really going to push them over the edge to where they want to get a property under contract right now. It's a process for all of this here. But we could very easily, this is a farming. We've talked about farming strategies before. And when you're farming, you're not always giving them the information that somebody maybe in the selling case that are actively selling right now that they would need. We'll talk about what they need as they get further down this process. So the basic information, more general here. Now as they get ready to sell, maybe something like 7 things you need to do to have your property ready to sell, or 5 things you need to do to have your property ready to sell. And then maybe we go even deeper now into the people selling. Now these ideally are your clients, But let's say it's a for sale by owner. Let's say that, let's say you don't have any of this right here and you really don't have anybody selling right now. What do you do when you're scrambling to find business? You know, maybe you turn to a for sale by owner. These are people that are selling their property right now. And maybe you come in extending the olive branch saying, hey, look, you know, I'm a realtor. Don't worry, though. I'm not trying to get you to sign anything right now. I just figured I'd help you guys out because I know if you guys aren't able to get the property sold on your own, that if I was here to help you guys now, that you're going to call me when you are ready to get a professional in here to help you sell your property. I just want to drop off this quick report about things it is that you should be doing to maximize the value of your property. And a lot of agents will say, no, why would I share that secret with them? Because, again, we're trying to establish this relationship. Again, we could categorize the sellers at these different points here, but it's important to know what information is that they need at these different levels, because the more we systematize this process, the more it is that we could get multiple clients and ultimately multiple flows of income going on at any given point in time. Because once we get into this contract to close portion right here, once we're at this point here, unless the deal falls through, we should be getting paid, especially after that inspection contingency period passes. If the property appraises and all these other contingencies that might be in the contract, as long as they go through, now it's basically just sit back and wait to get paid. There are some exceptions to that because a contract could always fall through, but this doesn't require a whole lot of our attention down here in this contract to close process. We'll require some, and even the people that are selling right now, unless they're not our client and they're a for sale by owner or maybe expired listing that we're selling their property. But for our clients, yes, it does require some work, but a lot more of the work that you're doing on the seller side is work on the front end. It's more so the people that are ready to sell and getting them signing a listing contract, get them to be ready to sell, to actually selling their property. And this is where it requires the work on the front end with us, but a lot of this work here is administrative work. I mean, yeah, you'll have to get photos of the property, but you shouldn't be taking your own photos, especially if this is an average property or better. That's where you want to have photos that showcase the property, that really make it pop, that make it stand out from the others. And as great as iPhone cameras may be, they do nothing compared to a professional photographer who knows how to work the equipment it is that they have. So that's definitely a big selling point for your presentation when you're dealing with listings. But point being here is a lot of this administrative work for selling, this is all work that can be outsourced. You don't have to take the pictures, get a professional photographer to take the pictures. If your office doesn't have an administrative assistant to input the listings, then you should probably consider hiring an administrative assistant. And if your office does have an administrative assistant to input the listings, why are you putting the listings in yourself? So all of this work can a lot of the times be outsourced. Now, where your work comes in, where you've got to be the expert here, is getting the deal, getting the contract in the first place here. And that's going to require you going out on appointments to the client's homes and convincing them to use your services to sell the property. But once you've got that, it's administrative work, it's putting it on the market, and if you're working with a buyer that wants to buy that property, even better, because now you get double the commission here. But chances are it's going to be another broker that finds the property in the MLS that has a client that's interested in buying the property, and you just split the commission with them 50-50. That's typically what occurs quite often when you're dealing with real estate. So you want to know these stages here so you can systematize this, because the more you can systemize, the more you can multipletize. Systemize to multipletize. We'll make that a word here, multipletize. So systematize to multiplies. That's something you can remember there. It'll stick in your head. But that's just working with clients. And again, you shouldn't limit yourself to just buyers or just sellers. Yes, there is importance in specialization, and yes, you probably should start out just specializing and focusing on getting buyers. But if you do get a seller, I wouldn't turn that seller away. Or if you're focusing on sellers but you get a buyer, I wouldn't turn that buyer away. Until you're in a position where you can't afford to turn away business. And it's not that you're going to turn the business away, you're going to refer the business away. Never turn business away, always refer the business away, because with your license, even if you're not the one actually doing the real estate services, you're able to earn a referral fee for referring that business to another real estate professional. So, but back to my point with all this stuff here, you could find time for these things here. And when you get that opportunity, let's say you're specifically focusing on buyers, but all of a sudden a seller comes along. Well, what do I do now? Well, let's learn how to sell the property. Let's systematize that process so we could add this additional flow to our property. You know, right now where we're sitting right now in the Tampa Bay area, there's a very low supply of housing. So yeah, you know, listings are, you know, that's the goal. That's awesome. Yeah, you got to have listings. You got to list to last. All the stuff that realtors say about working with sellers and having listings and the less amount of time it is to work with a seller. But look, when you're in a market where there's not property, when there's not inventory available, what do you have to sell? What do you have to list? Nothing. So you can go out there searching for these listings, or you could take the buyers that are out there, that there's lots of them, and take them to the listings that are available. And yes, there'll be bidding wars typically when we have this whole seller's market type of thing like we're seeing right now when the inventory is low but the demand is high. When low supply and high demand, that's the seller's market. So different sets of skills it is that we need for these different ones here. But if you're only solely working on sellers, as inventory tightens up, you're going to be struggling to find business. So that's why you don't want to rely on just one. And ultimately, maybe you build yourself out some sort of real estate team where you have certain agents that specialize in buyers, certain agents that specialize in sellers, and maybe you move them around accordingly depending on the market needs. Maybe if it's more of a seller's market, you're shifting more people to the buying side. Or maybe if it's more of a buyer's market, you're shifting more people to the seller side, because there's more listings that are available out there. Or, you know, even vice versa. Let's say that you've got somebody that wants to buy a property, but they can't find any properties. So what can you do to find them a property? Well, we go find them a property that's not on the market yet. Maybe a for sale by owner, maybe an expired listing, maybe somebody that's just thinking about selling it, maybe through our farming efforts or somehow they just know us and we're gonna be the one that lists the property with them. And now we've got the buying side and the selling side and we're getting double commission because of that. So the more it is that you can multiply your business, the more it is that you're able to have a more sustainable business, to not have up and downs, but have a nice steady stream. Because you might have, the buying side might fall off a little bit, but hopefully your selling side is still doing good and continuing to support you. If there's some change in, let's say, mortgage lending, if they change mortgage lending and they change some new regulation, they put in some new regulation that makes it harder for people to obtain financing, that hurts the buying side. It'll hurt the selling side. It'll hurt the whole real estate industry in general, but you need to be able to adapt to that. You need to be able to shift your business around. And the more multiples you have, the more flows it is that you have, the better prepared it is you'll be for when these changes occur. And it's not just working with, you know, any one particular type of client. That's really the moral of the story today. Not one particular of anything, not just one client, not just one type of client. And, you know, maybe you've never worked with new home builders before. If you've never worked with new home builders before, you're going to be struggling right now in the Tampa Bay area because that's where a lot of the inventory is coming from, is new construction homes. Because all the presently built homes, there's not a lot for sale. So that's where you want to become skilled in working with home builders and new construction type of homes and understanding that process, so that way you could supply the buyers with that new construction homes. The new construction companies are going to be there as well. The question is, are they going to find it themselves, or are you going to be the one that helps make that connection, that helps broker that deal? So that's why you don't want to rely on just any one type of thing here. You know, maybe there's a change in the market. Maybe there's more foreclosures going on. What do you know about short sales? What do you know about bank-owned properties? What do you know about working with foreclosure properties? If the answer is nothing, you should learn about those things and start building up your flows of income, so when there are shifts in the market, and there's always shifts in the market, good shifts as well as bad shifts, that you're able to compensate for those shifts because you've got these other flows of income. Maybe one part of your business falls off, but you still got other parts of your business not just surviving but thriving. And maybe if one part of the market goes down, another part of the market's going up because it's now having those scales being tipped. And so if you're in that other part of the market, you're not missing out on it because you're diversified across multiple flows. So multiple is so important to your business. What I want to talk about next is the advertising, and how you don't want to rely on just one form of advertising and marketing and prospecting and finding new business. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm John Chrismo. You're watching State of Real Estate.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I'm John Kurzman. The show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to help you mastermind or grow your real estate business, learn about the real estate industry, learn how to make money in the real estate industry, because what's the point of all this if we're not making any money? Go find something better to do with your time other than real estate. Everyone's in real estate to at least make a little bit of money, maybe just a little bit, probably a lot of money though, maybe just not a little bit. What we've been talking about though, and this is integral to earning money in any capacity. If you rely on one, you're eventually going to be done. Might not be today, might not be tomorrow, but you'll be done eventually. If you've got one source of income, you've got one job, you're just doing one thing, what happens when that company shuts down? What happens when that industry is no longer relevant? I was watching a video the other day about the jobs that are going to be most depleted due to automation and you know, things like cashiers, which that one seems pretty obvious. Another one though, bank tellers, that's another big one too, that they're predicting a lot of job losses coming from that as online banking becomes more prominent. I know Bank of America now, I've got a little assistant right in my app there that it's some artificial intelligence assistant, and you know, they're just scaling this all up across the entire planet with automation. So if that was your one source of income, having this one job, you're going to be in a tough spot. So how do you fix that? How do you change that? Maybe you got your real estate license to be able to work real estate part-time. We have so many people that get their real estate license that aren't interested in being a full-time real estate agent, but they're looking to supplement their income. And that's smarter, I would say, than just being 100% just a real estate agent, because again, you're getting multiple flows. You're getting multiple sources of income. Now, the difficult part where most people go wrong with multiple is they'll be spread so thin that they can't be effective in any aspect. So this is where you've got to start at one thing. You know, you got to get good at whatever it is that you're doing so you can afford to get into these other flows, so you get into these other vehicles to earn money. So with clients, for example, that what we were talking about earlier, when you're dealing with clients, yeah, you maybe want to pick something to specialize in first, and okay, let's say that's buyers, because maybe that's what the market says right now, is that you should specialize in buyers. You work through a couple buyers and you get a little bit of a process down. Okay, well, let's now pick up the seller side. You're going to keep doing what you've been doing that's been working, that's been making you money on the buyer side, but now let's see if we can pick up some seller clients and seller leads as well, so we can build up that aspect of our business, because a business is not a job. A business is very different than a job. A business is systems. That's what makes something a business. If you are the system, that's a job. That's not a business. So if you are the system, that's a job. When you build out these systems, when you have, and look, you could still be just you. It's more difficult to have a business just being you. It's more difficult to scale it out. but you could still have systems. You could still have a business. You know, your website is a system. That if that website is run properly, it's constantly bringing you in new business. That's a system. And with as much automation that's going on today, everybody talks about the gloom and doom side of automation, but it makes it possible, more attainable to be an entrepreneur. With the level of automation, the administrative assistants were another one that was projected to lose a lot of jobs because they're not as important as they used to be because we have computers, which are the best assistants in the world a lot of time. Might get some things wrong every now and then, but they're constantly fixing and refining that process. And we might have a CRM system that reminds us. You know, people used to pay assistants $50,000 salaries for them to keep a calendar for them, to remind them what to do that particular day. We could simply set that reminder in our calendar and we get a little notification. Hey, talk to so-and-so, call up so-and-so, touch base with so-and-so. So utilize these systems and systematize this process. You need to go through, as you're going through these transactions, looking at it from a viewpoint of how can I make this more automated? How can I have more of a system? And even if it does require involvement on our part, and this is why real estate is really low on the list for automation, is because it does require a skilled professional. But what kind of processes can we go through that will help guide us through this process, which will make it less difficult on our part? You know, the most difficult sale it is that you'll ever do is your first sale. And then maybe you'll have some that'll be slightly more difficult. Maybe you get lucky and your first sale is somewhat easier, but it's almost always your most difficult sale is your first sale because you don't know what you're doing. And even if you took trainings and classes on how to figure out what it is that you're doing, you're still kind of just, you know, wading through the waters, hoping it is that you figure it out and you don't blow everything up. You don't mess up the deal. So that first time, it's going to seem difficult, but you need to be constantly evaluating this process. I should do this better next time. Just by you having these little things, I should have done this. I could do this next time. That's you building out a system. That's you building a business. So going back to the multiples, you know, we want to have multiple clients, not just both buyers and sellers, but multiple types of clients, maybe new construction clients, maybe resale clients, maybe dealing with some banks for some foreclosure and REO and short sale type of deals and things like that. So we've got these different flows of income, and the more it is that we could be across, the better it is that our business will survive. But another one is advertising. So advertising, marketing, prospecting, direct selling, whatever it is that we want to call it, we're basically out there seeking out clients. And there's the very much prospecting side of this, which is like knocking on doors and doing cold calls and things like that, which if done correctly can be extremely effective at finding you new business for basically no money whatsoever, just really an investment of your time into these things here. But that's not scalable. Yes, you could have some systems for what it is that you say when you knock on these doors, how it is that you walk between the houses so you minimize the amount of time, what documentation it is that you give them. Yes, we have systems there, but when we're advertising, when we're marketing, this is where we have even more power for systems, especially with the computer technology that's available today. You could use, so you don't want to rely on just one medium of anything for gaining business. So maybe you do door knocking and you don't give that up because it's working. If you've got something that works, I'm not saying to give it up, but maybe supplement that with some additional flows. Supplement that with additional strategies. Test out some things. And you don't want to turn your back completely on the door knocking, let's say, because it's getting you clients, it's getting you business, it's getting you money, it's getting you paid, it's keeping you in business. So maybe you don't turn your back on that, but then you start, okay, well, let's try doing some direct mail. So yeah, maybe you're doing the door knocking. Well, let's start sending some letters out and see what that is. And we've done a lot of episodes before on farming. This is one way to farm a neighborhood, is just by sending mailers, sending out little newsletters to people, little things about properties it is that you have listed, properties that just went under contract, properties that have sold, just some little things that show up right in their mailbox. It's not extremely effective. Nowhere near as effective as a properly executed door knocking strategy. But with this, I mean, especially if you're not the ones creating the mailing yourself, then, I mean, you could, just for the cost of whatever it is, send a mailing out to 1,000 people or 10,000 people. How long would it take you to knock on 1,000 doors or 10,000 doors? Now, the difference here and why a lot of new agents won't immediately go to something like this is because this is going to cost money. But this is more of a system. So maybe you close a commission check, and rather than just going on vacation or doing whatever it is that you're going to do with that money, maybe you take that money now and you invest it in a direct mail strategy. Or maybe you're looking for something a little bit more 21st century. Maybe you're doing Facebook or Google advertising, or any of these other type of digital advertising platforms. And no, I'm not talking about just posting random stuff on Facebook to your friends and family. You know, that might get you some business, but you're better off probably knocking on people's doors, because that's what you're doing there when you're not paying for any ad spend behind it. In these cases here, you're able to leverage the system that is the United States Postal Service. You're able to utilize that system. One of the most complex systems that exist in the world. Comes at a cost, though, to use that system. Do you use Facebook and Google's ad platforms? Very powerful systems to advertise. Can be very effective when used correctly, but it's going to cost you. You're not going to, you can post on Google Plus. I mean, everyone even use Google Plus. You can post on those for free, or post on maybe on YouTube for free, but don't count on that one little post, that organic poster, just because you're listed in Google. Are you on the first page of Google? Because if not, no one's seeing your search listing anyways. If you're like the 4th listing on Google, there's no chance they're probably even going to see you just even there being on the first page and just being number 4. It's the first 1 or 2 or 3 that people are interested with. And after that point, they usually find what they're looking for, because Google is very good at giving people what they look for. So until you get to that point, if you want to leverage this system that is Google, you've got to pay for it. With Facebook, look, if you got 1 million followers on Facebook, you know you've got a pretty good reach. But if you don't, you've got to pay to get in front of 1 million people, which it's a great system, but it does cost money. But these are more scalable systems. Maybe you're building out a website. Now, I said this before, and you should be utilizing multiple of these. You should be doing the door knocking, the direct mail, the Facebook and Google ads. You should have a website. You should have business cards. You should have every way possible and testing out to see what works best. And when in doubt, do it anyways, because there are more effective forms of advertising, but very rarely is an advertisement a bad advertisement. So the website, for example, though. If we don't have anybody going on the website, there's no point to the website whatsoever. There's no point to having a website, to paying for a website if we don't have traffic, if we don't have people searching on our website. It's like opening up a storefront in the middle of nowhere. No one would do that, but so often people open up websites. They start websites in the middle of nowhere. Because when you're a new website, Google doesn't care about you. Google's not going to give you any bonus points for being a new website. No, they're going to penalize you for being a new website, for being a new kid on the block. Unless you're willing to pay them for some Google ads. If you pay them for some Google ads, they'll bump you right up to the top of the list. You just got to pay the price. But that could get very expensive. And that's why you want to reinvest from what's working into these other flows to find out, okay, which one of these is going to flow me business. You're flowing money to these systems, and that's why a lot of agents are hesitant to use these things. Is this cost money, this costs money, this costs money. Basically, any form of advertising you're doing is going to cost money. But don't think of it as Google, they're taking your money away, pulling money out of your pocket for ads, and they're getting rich. No. This is an investment, and it's either going to be a good investment that you're using this like you should, and it's giving you a return on your investment, or it's a bad investment that you're not using it appropriately, and you're spending more money than you're getting in return. So that's all it is. It's an investment. That's the way you've got to think of any one of these here. You got to ask yourself, though, is this a good investment? And these are better investments to make than going to invest in some sort of stock, because you've got no control over stocks. You've got no control over the real estate market in general. So you might want to go buy some investment real estate properties, but hey, what happens if the market goes up or down? If it goes up, great, but if it goes down, you're losing money. With these, you have control because this is your business. Yes, you are giving some control to Google. They will limit what it is that you can put in an advertisement. Same thing for Facebook. The Postal Service, supposedly they limit what it is that you could send in that there. But for what we're sending as real estate professionals there, you're probably not going to have any issues. Your website's going to have some limitations to it, especially if you're hiring somebody for a particular website to design the website. You're paying for some service for that. You shouldn't be designing the website yourself. You're not paid to be a web developer. You're paid to be a real estate professional. Maybe you are paid to be a web developer, then you do know a thing or two about that, and you also do real estate. Then maybe you're okay to design your website. But if you're just trying to go on like Wix.com or one of these like build your own website type of things, you're going to be spending hours building this website. And what's going to happen? No one's going to go on there. You might get a couple people that look on your business card and type in your website address, but remember that funnel. Remember what we're going through here. There's going to be people falling off before money pours out at the end. So the people we need to get on our website very early in the stage, remember the people that are coming onto our website, even if they searched for homes for sale in Tampa, let's say, they're probably in that thinking stage. They're probably not in the actively looking. They could be in the actively looking, but the actively looking segment is a lot smaller than the interested in purchasing. So we need to get a lot of people that are interested to get the people that are active, to get the people that close, that actually get us paid. I mean, we'd love to just find just the people that are looking to close. You know, Facebook, they got all their data it is that they put in there to say, oh yeah, we're going to give you the people that are likely to move. And even that's going into question now where they're taking that away because they're all under scrutinization of data. And look, you know, that's another thing. All these data regulations that are coming out now, the whole like European thing. Apple just announced that they're limiting the data it is that people are able to collect off of people's web browsers and whatnot. That companies are able to collect off people's web browser. So what that means is we're back to like old school marketing. We're back to the days before we had smart advertising. We're basically just throwing a billboard up there, and we're going to lose a lot of our interest. So it's just making this funnel wider. It's just making it where we can't as highly target the people it is that we're looking for. So it's just a change in the market. It's just a shift in the market. And there's shifts in all markets, including the real estate market. So as we get further down this process here, as we go from somebody that's interested to somebody that's active to somebody that's actually going to close, there's going to be less people. So what that means is we got to get a lot of people on our website. We need to send a lot of direct mailing to people. We've got to do a lot of Facebook and Google ads because we're just hitting these people typically. We might get lucky and hit one that's in that part of the process, but most of them are going to fall into this process of just being this part of the process of just being interested, not being actively ready to go, ready to pull the trigger, ready to go out there and close a deal, ready to buy a house, ready to get their property on the market right now. And a lot of times they need to be warmed up to that. So when we're utilizing these different flows here, and this is extremely important in advertising because you don't want to just send direct mail because what if this is somebody, what if this is like some sort of millennial that doesn't check their mail? That's the word on the street is, you know, millennials don't care about mail, it's only email. No, they do check their mail. They do check their mail, maybe not as much as email if we're going to generalize that there, but that doesn't mean you should not send mail. They get something maybe in and this is where we test these things out. Maybe we send a postcard and then maybe we send a letter that's handwritten and hand addressed. A little bit more effort with that there, but you know, maybe they're more likely to open it. Maybe that's something that they're more interested in. They're like, oh, look, somebody sent me a letter. I didn't know people still do that. So we do the direct mail. We do this. Email is another one. So once you get somebody's email address, maybe you have something on your website set up to capture that. Maybe you got their email when you met them or when you're door knocking them or however it is that you got their email, that you're following up with them in email. That's how we kind of educate people a lot too, and they're moving through the process. So once they become a lead and they're still in that interested process, and how we kind of warm them up to being somebody actively ready to purchase. But that's what this is all about. Multiple, having the pipeline, having the funnel, having this whole set of business lined up and ready to go, not just, you know, trying to find that one person that wants to buy right now. Look, that's perfect, that's great. But most people aren't at that stage. A lot of people need to be warmed up to that stage. And that's what our job is, to give them the information it is, not only that they want, but that they need to hear. We're a communicator. That's one of our main job responsibilities as a real estate professional, is to be a communicator and communicate with our clients. Both all of our past clients, our people that are interested, the people that are active, as well as the people going towards that closing process. So, I know it seems like we talked about a lot of things, but it all relates back to having multiple of everything. Multiple types of clients we're dealing with, buyers, sellers, multiple types of properties we're dealing with, new construction, resale, bank-owned properties. Having multiple forms of advertising. Maybe we want to even take that multiple. Anything in multiples is almost always better than just having one single thing of something. Because if you've only got one, something happens to that. Maybe you're just one person in your business. What happens if you get sick? What happens if you want to go on a vacation? What happens if you want to do something that isn't being your business? So if we could scale this out and have multiple people working with us, having a team of agents, that's taking that multiple concept again. And when we're multiplying it, we're going to operate at higher levels. We're going to be able to earn more money. We're going to be able to help more people. We're going to be able to go through this process more efficiently and having people that are specialized in these different aspects of our business. So it's all about multiple everything, multiple clients, multiple advertising, multiple team members, multiple types of property. If it's something and you're asking, should I have multiple of this? The answer is yes. You only got one car. What happens if that car breaks down? How are you going to get to that appointment? Well, if you got another car, there you go. You get to that appointment. Maybe you don't have another car, but maybe you've got somebody else on your team that could go take the appointment. Multiple will solve so many problems because it gives you backups. It gives you safety because it spreads yourself out. Yes, it'll cost more to have multiple, but the earnings potential are higher with multiple of anything. It costs you more time to work with multiple clients. It costs you more money to advertise in multiple forms. It costs you money to learn about multiple categories of real estate, to learn about the new construction real estate. Whether it's costing you time or money, it's going to cost you something. So multiple always comes at a cost, but multiple is almost always more rewarding than single. So remember, one and you're going to be done. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one, you rely on one for too long and you're going to be done. Rest assured that. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So don't rely on one. Rely on multiple. Build the multiple. Scale. Grow that larger. Because that's what we do on State of Real Estate. Every Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, we grow your business. Or at least talk about growing your business. It's on you now to take these concepts that we talked about today and implement them in your real estate business. Take this and look at this and say, I only have one client that's actively looking to purchase right now. I should probably go find another. I'm only working with buyers. Maybe I should go try to pick up some sellers, learn that side of it. I'm only dealing with real estate. Maybe I should go learn about new construction. Maybe I'm doing direct mail, but I'm not doing any of these other types of advertising. Maybe I should look into doing these other types of advertising and actually doing that. Maybe you should grow larger and multiply. That's all the time we've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in to today's show. If you want to catch the rerun of this, go to tampaschool.com/success. You can watch it on demand, as well as all of our previous episodes of State of Real Estate, all kinds of videos, all kinds of articles, calculators, so much to help you plan for your success and become more successful in the real estate industry. That's tampaschool.com/success. Thank you guys for tuning in today, and I'll see you next week.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.